We're going to have some more pregame ceremonies and a few other things going on. The game is just a few minutes away, so please stay with us. We'll take a short break and be right back.
A message about dependability from the Metropolitan Insurance Companies. Some things in life are constant, like the sun rising every day. And just as you can depend on that, you can depend on Metropolitan to really stand by you. Over 47 million people know that when they need us, we're there. Like the sun rising, you can count on Metropolitan. For life, health, auto, home, and retirement, Metropolitan really stands by you.
Now, the two teams you're going to be seeing on the field today, Barrington High School, the team that did not make it into the playoffs, or at least the finals last year, and the Hendricken High School Hawks. Hendricken, 3 of the last 4 years, has made the finals. In fact, 2 years ago, we had them right here on TV 12. We want to tell you, however, before we get into today's activity, about what happened yesterday. Now, Metropolitan Insurance Companies also sponsors the Division II playoffs and the girls' playoffs, both held yesterday at Rhode Island College. And with me, to my right at the moment, is a pretty happy guy from Classical High School, the head coach, Vin Moses. And Vin, congratulations. You guys had a good game yesterday.
Yeah, it was very exciting. Terrific game.
Now, the final score was 2-1. That's not exactly...
No, that you're mistaken. That the newspaper put in the incorrect headline. We defeated Mount St. Charles 4-2.
That's still not a laugher.
No, it wasn't a laugher. It was a close game there until maybe the last 5 minutes or so, and then I thought we had it on ice.
Now, conditions today have got to be a little better than they were yesterday. Does that bother you, kids?
Well, the wind was more of a factor yesterday. It was definitely a factor, and we capitalized on it during the first half, and unfortunately, Mount St. Charles wasn't able to do much with it in the second half.
Okay, now you're the champions. How about giving some of your players a plug here? Who's
my co-captain, senior Johnny Rice, was a center fullback, did an outstanding job. The other co-captain, Stephen Sliney, whose picture was in the paper this morning, did a terrific job. We have a lot of seniors on the team, and they all worked very hard. We don't have any superstars this year, and everybody really worked hard together.
That's more of a credit to you and your team. We congratulate you very much.
Thanks a million.
You're welcome. Now, we have another guy to step in here, too. Another championship game played yesterday. It was the girls' championships, also at RIC, and this is head coach from South Kingstown High School. It was Jim Buxton, and Jim, the girls must have been excited. They had to play under the same bad conditions yesterday with the wind and everything. They obviously responded.
Hey, we were really up for the game. We had had 2 games with Barrington previously, tied them both. But I think one thing that helped us, we were there last year in the championship, and so had some championship experience. And you know, that may have prevented us from the tendency to choke in a championship game. The girls played real well, and I'm real proud of them.
And you can see some of that on your screen right now. Jim, who was your star yesterday?
Well, no doubt it had to be Jill Lewis. She scored both of our goals, and towards the end of the game, we put her in goal, actually, and made a game-saving save, and no doubt she was the star. I also have to give a lot of credit to our fullbacks. Meredith Drennan, who's an all-stater, had a fantastic game, as did Jackie Lewis, Jill Lewis's sister, Stacy Clegg, and also Michelle Fitzgerald shut down. Well, did an excellent job on Lynn Douglas, Barrington's high-scoring forward.
Well, Jim, we congratulate you. We know the kids are really excited about this. When we see some of your team members here, too.
Will we see? I haven't seen any yet. They are definitely soccer aficionados. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised they showed up. They showed up for the boys' semifinal South Kingstown game, in which we were unfortunate enough to lose to Hendricken. But I haven't seen them here yet.
All right, Jim, congratulations again.
Okay.
And you guys are the champs.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, now, earlier today, folks, we had a chance to go down on the field, and we will bring you a couple of those taped interviews in just a bit, right after this message.
people. They're what makes a good company great. At Metropolitan, we believe people to be the most precious of resources. People create progress, instill spirit. People care. That's why you'll see the lights burning late at night at our Warwick headquarters. Take a close look at Metropolitan. You'll see why we're more than just an insurance company. People. It's what we're all about.
On the field with Bob Fitch, Corporate Relations Manager for Metropolitan Insurance Companies. And Bob, it's a chilly day, but the weather could be a lot worse.
Yeah, it is cold, Rick, but I think if the wind chill factor stays down, I don't think we'll have any problems at all. It's better than a couple of years ago anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And in the semifinals, we had a few snow flurries here, and it was a lot windier. Now, Bob, this is the 6th year for Metropolitan's involvement in this, and the 4th year they sponsored the finals. From a corporate standpoint, how's it being received?
Well, that's right, Rick. It is the 6th year that Metropolitan has been involved, and I think 6 years ago, an indication of how soccer has grown in the state, we started out with 2,000 registered soccer players. Today, we've got more than 8,000 just in the state of Rhode Island alone. So I think that's quite an accomplishment, and I think that Metropolitan has played a big part in increasing those numbers.
Now, the Division II championships and the girls' championships held yesterday. The girls, for the first time, have you noticed an increase?
Oh, sure. And I think if people who saw yesterday's game, if they saw Jill Lewis, people are saying that she's probably the best female athlete in the state of Rhode Island. And usually what would happen a few years ago is the best female athlete would be playing volleyball or basketball, but now they're into soccer.
Well, we got two good ones here today in the Division I championship, Barrington and Hendricken. Hendricken has been here 3 of the last 4 years. You must be getting used to seeing some of those green uniforms.
Yeah, we're getting used to seeing Hendricken, and we're getting used to Mickey Rooney, and now this year we're getting used to Ed Bradley using his psychological aspects of saying that his team isn't ready, but we'll see today.
Going to put you on the spot. You got a side? Are you going to take a side on this one?
No sides today, Rick.
That's a good diplomat. Thank you very much, Bob Fitch, for being with us.
Thank you, Rick.
We are just a few moments away from the introduction of players here at Brown University Stevenson Field, the Division I championship game between Hendricken High School and Barrington High School. And Cliff, you mentioned before, you saw both of these teams play in the semifinals. You've seen them a couple of times, as a matter of fact. We got a little contrast in styles here.
Yes, I think Hendricken in the 2 games, first of all, they're strong. They're going to hit a little bit of a longer ball. That's how they won the other night. Barrington is going to keep the ball down just a little bit more and try to push it upfield, and they're going to try to hit their outstanding striker, Douglas.
Now, both of these teams are well-coached, well-schooled. Hendricken might be a little more defensive-minded, while Barrington seems to be at times clever with the ball. Is that good coaching or just good ability?
Well, I think it's a result of the fact that these kids have started at 7 and 8 years old. When I was down at Barrington watching one of the games, these kids have been playing together as a team pretty much, 7 or 8 of them, for about 7 or 8 years.
Now, as a head coach at a major university, you get your eyes on some of these kids?
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, I have to check out their grades, too, you know. I just can't say, well, I want him. I'd like to have a couple of 3 of them. That's all part of it, too.
Cliff, we also had a chance to talk with the guy who was in charge of interscholastic soccer earlier today on the field, Eric Wertheimer from South Kingstown High School. Now, here's an old familiar face, and I don't mean old literally. What I mean is experienced. He's been here 6 years in a row. The Commissioner of Soccer for the Interscholastic League, Eric Wertheimer. Eric, it's chilly out here, but I know you're excited about the finals.
Well, it certainly could have been a lot worse. Yesterday was a very windy day. Today the wind has died down, and I think we're going to have excellent playing conditions today.
Now, you're also principal of South Kingstown High School, and a guy who almost had a doubleheader here. South Kingstown boys got eliminated last Tuesday night in the semifinals, but your girls' team had a fun day yesterday. How was it?
Well, they certainly did. It was a tremendous game. Both teams played exceptionally well with a strong wind, and our girls were very fortunate, and they've had a great season, and it certainly was a nice way to cap the season.
Girls, for the first time, had a championship yesterday. The boys' Division II was very popular. And at the dinner the other night at Metropolitan Insurance Company, I noticed, and we were remarking, that the room was full. This has really grown, hasn't it?
The interest in soccer has grown throughout the state, and really I attribute a lot of that to Metropolitan Insurance support of the program. The play has improved as a result of interest, and also the spectator interest has improved. The other night we had about 1,500 people here in 0 wind chill factor temperature.
And now you're in charge of the alignments. We haven't had a change this year. Do you see any changes upcoming in Division I, II?
Well, we have 2-year alignments, and so the alignment will be the same for next year. And every 2 years we take a look and see whether or not balancing has to be done. But for now, we're pretty well set.
I got to ask you, it's a little bit chilly on the field here. You're dressed like Bowie Kuhn used to dress for baseball. You cold?
Well, it's a little cold.
And the reason I'm kidding you also is because we have one more little bit of news and information. Happy birthday. Today is Eric's birthday.
Thank you very much, Rick, and thank you for promoting the sport. We appreciate it.
It is our pleasure, and I hope the kids have a good game today. Well, the teams are on the field. Both have had a chance to warm up, and I understand that everything's in place. The championship game is about to get underway. But first, we have to have the introduction to players and meet everybody. And for that, we'll go to public address announcer Joe Dobrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the campus of Brown University and Stevenson Field for the 1984 Metropolitan Insurance Rhode Island High School Soccer Championship. Here are the starting lineups. Introducing first the Hendricken High School Hawks. At fullback, a junior, number 16, Bob Capobianco. At fullback, a senior, number 12, Kevin Colbert. Center midfielder, a senior, number 9, David Trout. At forward, a sophomore, number 6, Peter de Blasi. At fullback, a senior, number 17, Dan Ford. At forward, a senior, number 24, Peter Lageson. The goalie is senior Vic Mercurio. The left midfielder, a junior, number 21, Bill O'Rourke. Midfielder, a senior, number 14, Bill Rittell. At the fullback position, a senior, number 10, Steve Russell. And at forward, a junior, number 18, Bobby Walworth. The coach, Mr. Mike Rooney, and the rest of the Hendricken players, coaches, and trainers. Introducing now the Eagles of Barrington High School. At center forward, a senior, number 28, Brian Boone. In goal, a senior, number 1, Chris Darling. At right forward, a sophomore, number 3, Matt Douglas. At left forward, a junior, number 4, Scott Douglas. In the midfield position, a junior, number 27, Nick Formisano. The sweeper, a sophomore, number 12, Jared Hall. At right fullback, a junior, number 18, Thomas Healy. At left fullback, senior, number 16, Gregory Howell. The right midfielder, a junior, number 10, Scott Peterson. The stopper is a senior, number 17, Thomas Simon. And the left midfielder, sophomore, number 26, Kurt Stevens. The coach, Mr. Ed Bradley, and the rest of the Barrington players, coaches, and trainers. The referees for today's game are Lou Marshall and Ted Simkowitz. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise now as the East Greenwich High School Band plays our national anthem.
proof is just about here. Cliff Stevenson, we've got Barrington High School with a great record, overall 15-2-2. Hendricken High School overall 15-1-3. Not bad.
No, and as I said before, I think we're going to have a great game. I wouldn't want to predict the winner because I think they're very evenly matched. They both have 15 wins, too, in the season.
Defensively, would you give an edge in goals to either side?
No, both goalies, Mercurio had a great game the other night, but so did Dowling in the two games that I saw them play. He did a nice job in there. He wasn't tested quite as much, but he's a darn good goalie.
Now, you want to talk about the coaching? Both of these guys are top-notch, especially in the Scholastic experience.
See, Mickey Rooney's background has been, he played up at Keene State. He's been in the game a long while now. He's been at Hendricken now 6 years, and he turned the Hendricken program and made it into a real winner. He's been here before. Ed Bradley's been around. He was up at the college there for a couple of 3 years. Went back to Barrington. The kids like him. The parents like him. He does a nice job.
Well, apparently it's going to be Barrington High School moving from right to left on the attack. Hendricken High School in the green uniforms, gold numerals, gold stockings, and Barrington High School in the gold jerseys with the blue numerals, blue shorts, and yellow stockings. And I don't think it's going to take too long, Cliff, before one team is going to try to establish something on the field. With no wind here, they might get a chance to get an attack going quickly.
Well, I think if you keep in mind, both teams attack with 3 forwards, but they roam them around quite a bit. Now, the question is, who are they going to put on Douglas to try to stop him? Because he's a very dangerous player. He can score a goal just like that. And so they're going to put somebody on him to cover him and stay with him all the time, what we call marking somebody out of the game.
Okay, we're just about ready for the opening whistle. We will be right back to Stevenson Field right after this message.
At Metropolitan, we get involved in our Special Olympics soccer program, which gives handicapped individuals a chance to compete and have fun. In our holiday hotline, which opens our phones to senior citizens at Christmas to call their loved ones wherever they are. Take a close look. Involvement makes us more than just an insurance company.
We're Metropolitan.
People who really stand by you.
Play is just underway. The ball was over the sideline, and it's a toss-in for Barrington High School. Cliff, do you see anything out there? You see any position?
Well, first of all, we'll establish Hendricken's going from our right to our left, and they seem to have taken play away right at the beginning here.
It's Barrington trying to control the ball and get it out, but Hendricken's putting some pressure on already. Now, Cliff, in the course of the afternoon, we have a lot of folks who are watching soccer for the first time. I will leave it to you to explain what's going on when the referee blows the whistle.
Well, that was a charge from the rear, so it'll be probably an indirect kick. Or no, it's probably a direct kick.
And a direct kick means?
Means that he can take the shot and can put it right in the goal. He doesn't have to pass it to anyone.
Okay, now you'll see a little wall, a semi-wall here being formed by Barrington High School defensively.
And unfortunately, that happens. He took the shot, but it was way wide and high, and so they were not able to capitalize on that initial opportunity.
That was senior midfielder David Crouch doing the honors on that shot, but it goes over the end line. It will be a goal kick. Chris Darling kicking it out for Barrington High School. And now the fight to control the midfield. It looks as though Hendricken's going to try and take it over here. And now the other sideline, and now it's a throw in for Barrington.
Rick, if you pick out number 4, who just threw the ball in for Barrington, you'll notice number 12 of Hendricken, Kevin Colbert, is covering him man for man. Wherever he goes, he's going. So that'll be an interesting man-on-man situation.
And number 4 is Scott Douglas for Barrington. He is a clever little player, always around the net. Good head attempt by Barrington right off the bat. Mercurio saved, but could not hold on to the ball. And it is quickly cleared out over the sideline. It's going to be a throw-in for Barrington. They showed some cleverness already.
That was a good head by number 3, the other younger Douglas, a sophomore, Scott Douglas.
On the toss in, Barrington controls Hendricken now with the ball. Barrington takes it over. There is Scott Douglas, but he's got no one on his wing. And Hendricken just clearing it out of there again, looking to get organized.
Yeah, I think so. And no sense of messing with the ball at a situation like that. Just get it out. And
handling the ball now was Nicholas Formizano. Again, we're going to have another toss. And, folks, it's a 40-minute half. We played 2 of those, and the clock does not generally stop. They'll have a couple of timeouts in the first and second halves here for the television presentation. But play continues, and it's a non-stop action kind of thing. Now Hendricken takes it over as the Hawks try to go on the attack. But as they press it forward, no one's in position. And we'll race over to the sideline, controlled by Barrington, but we had a knockdown, and it's going to be tossed.
Yeah, Paul, the sweeper back, was knocked down as he cleared it upfield.
Number 12 in the foreground here for Barrington is Jared Hall, who's tying his shoe. And he's going to take the kick, I believe.
He's only a sophomore, Rick, and he's a very outstanding sweeper back as a sophomore.
As we get into this clip, I'm going to ask you to explain some of the rules, some of the offside rules, but Barrington cannot get anything going here. And adjusting for the ball, we're going to have, it's going to remain a Barrington attack here.
Yes.
Keep your eye on that guy, number 4. Well, he just switched off, but he's got the ball now. Scott Douglas, a very, very tricky forward who can do a lot of things. Now, Cliff, we just saw the ball barely go over the end line. What's the ruling there?
Well, if the ball goes over the end line, as long as it goes over, it's out of bounds. And now we have a goal kick coming out, which is taken in that 6-yard box. That box in front of the goal used to be called the goal area or the goalie's area, but now it's not used in that fashion. It's for goal kicks. It's 6 by 20.
Steve Russell knocking it out of there, but back comes Barrington on the attack. As we kind of expected here, as Hendricken has taken a more defensive posture in the playoffs and waiting very cagily for the big opportunity. They're very, very patient on offense and very tenacious on defense. And as expected, somewhat, Barrington is here putting the offensive pressure on early.
Now, that was another hit from the rear, just a shove from the rear. It's another free kick. This time, Barrington gets the free kick.
Okay, that'll be Hendricken lining up with a little defensive wall here. Dick Mercurio, tense in goal, is taking the shot. It's going to be Tom Simon. He tries to cut it across. It's headed, and it's in there for a goal.
The goal by number 27,
Nick Formazano.
On a cross that deflected off a player. Goalie got out of position. He couldn't help it, and he was helpless.
All righty, less than 5 minutes gone here in the first half, and Barrington, the attack paying off. Cliff coming up with a very nice little play. Let's take a look at it again as Nick Formazano's going to head it in. A nice crossing little pass there from Scott Douglas. I believe we've got it coming up for you. We'll take a second look at it. Mercurio seemed to be in position, but it was just...
well, that shows you how a foul like that on the edge of the area. See, the goalie just couldn't get to it. And it was a good head ball. It was hit hard with his head.
Now, is the goal scorer Formazano to be credited, or the guy who laid it across there, Douglas?
Well, I think both of them. If it wasn't put over there, and then I think it was a deflection on it, too.
So, Barrington's got a 1-0 lead here very early on in this contest, and that might have to change the strategy if the Eagles keep the pressure on the Hawks here, as once again they're trying to do. The Hawks showing a little disorganization in their own end, and Barrington's got a break here. They will retain the possession deep in Hendricken territory. And Cliff, I didn't see the signal. Was that a direct?
Well, there was another violation in there, another bump. And the referee, Marshall, called a charge.
Okay. Midfielder Tom Simon is lining up again. He's the guy with the glasses, number 17. Right next to him is Scott Douglas. And it's
here you see another one dropped in.
And it's headed away momentarily here by Hendricken as they fight for control of possession. On the far side, Barrington takes it over and controls once again, gets it down, but no one is there for Barrington. Dan Ford for Hendricken knocks it away. And it goes over the sideline. Ford last touch it, so Barrington will have a toss in.
Now Douglas, you'll find Douglas, number 4, for Barrington, moving around a lot because he's got a man on him who just headed the ball out.
Simon controls. He's trying to get it to Douglas, but he's being hounded by the Hendricken defenders. Kurt Stevens for Barrington vying for it, but coming away with it for Hendricken is Peter Lagesson. Lagesson gets it down. Hendricken's trying to get on the attack here, but Barrington defense drops back very nicely and they'll get the ball back to midfield. There's Douglas trying to take control, but Hendricken has him checked on that one, and back to midfield we go. Barrington still putting good pressure on Hendricken here in the early going, 1-0. Barrington just got a goal from Nick Formazano. Nice crossing pass headed in and beating goalie Dick Mercurio for Hendricken. Barrington playing very well positionally for him.
You'll find number 6, Peter DeBlasi. He's a sophomore, but I'm impressed with him. He settles the ball down for Hendricken up front, and he's good with his feet.
Curling on the far side is Matt Douglas. As Barrington tries once again to mono attack, they're attacking from the right-hand side, and it's down to Matt Douglas. He kicks it across, but Hendricken is there. Defender Steve Russell once again controlling and getting it out to midfield, taking some of the pressure off. Mercurio has to be a little shaky goal now, giving one early on. Meanwhile, back at the other end, Chris Darling hasn't had any shots on goal yet, as Barrington has really controlled things defensively and very much with the offensive attack. The ball has been on the left side, the Hendricken side of the field, quite a bit here.
Barrington seems to be a little more confident in moving the ball, and maybe that comes from having played together so long, but also from having beaten a very fine Central Falls team. And that had to give them confidence because they had all they could do to cover that outside of the box area against that Central Falls team.
Tricky conditions that night, too, and Barrington came up with 3 goals. 2 of them were scored by, Douglas has accounted for all of them. Scott had 2, and Matt Douglas, his brother, had 1. We saw Scott on a direct kick in that game, make just a perfect shot. Hendricken trying to get something going now, and Barrington's back in there controlling defensively. It goes to the far side. Barrington does clear the ball out of the way. Just for a moment, it looks as though Hendricken would finally get an attack.
That was Jared Hall, number 12. They cleared that ball out at a very crucial time. That was a very close play.
All right, Hendricken with Bill O'Rourke with the ball on the sideline. No, Bill moves away from it now, and it's going to be a free kick.
Now here you usually set up a wall, Rick. It's quite a ways out. They'll probably try to drop it in, which they did. Try to get the head ball, and almost.
David Crouch doing the honors on the kick. Down in front, very close to being in a position to take that was Bill O'Rourke. Both of those guys clever players, but Chris Darling and Barrington had things well taken care of. Hendricken tries to control on the near sideline, and it went over the sideline, so it'll be a toss-in for Barrington. We played just about 10 minutes here. Barrington's got a 1-0 lead on an early goal, a pretty goal, a header by Nick Formizano, and that's the way it stands as Hendricken tries to get the ball out of this end, but Douglas controls for Barrington. He puts it down the middle, but it's smothered nicely by Steve Russell for Hendricken, and it's going to go back to Vic Mercurio in goal, and he'll get the kick out of there. Mercurio had an outstanding night in the semifinal game against South Kingstown as South Kingstown had the better of the play, attacking most of the evening. It was Hendricken that came up with the only goal of the game, a 1-0 victory to put them into the finals. Barrington again on the attack. Douglas gets it up, but a little bit too far, and Hendricken's going to take over again and try and clear it out. Careless kick right there.
The Hendricken backs, Rick, are having a little bit of trouble clearing the ball out, and they're playing a little bit frantic right now, and that's the reason they're kicking those out of bounds and up in the air. I think they'll settle down. Another factor will be the conditioning. See, Barrington now is kind of taking it to Hendricken a little bit, but Hendricken's in super condition. So it'll be the long haul that counts.
Douglas with a right foot attempt that goes wide of the goal, and we're going to come back down the other way as Mercurio will get the goal kick. Just about 30 minutes to go here in the first half. Barrington with the better of things so far, and the only scorer of the game, Nick Formizano, as they fight for control at midfield. Hendricken has had only one very weak attempt at Chris Darling in the Barrington goal, while Darling's teammates have been keeping the pressure on Vic Mercurio down at the other end of the field. Another whistle here, Cliff. A little dispute over procedure.
Matt Masur has just come into the game for Hendricken in place of Lagerson, number 24, up front.
All right, now the guy who's going to make a run at the ball is Peter DeBlasi. He's got it off, and it's well wide, and good distance on that one. So now Chris Darling gets the kick.
It's questionable on taking a shot like that from that far out. Maybe I think he was trying to drop it into somebody and just got away from him.
While players at midfield, Cliff, how about explaining for the folks the offside call?
Well, the rule is you have to have 2 men between you and the goal you're attacking at the time the ball was played. Now, that can be one goalie and a fullback.
Now, that's the trick, though, isn't it? At the time the ball is played.
the ball is played. In other words, once the ball is played, you can cut behind that man and cut behind the goalie if you want.
So it's going to be Barrington back on the attack again. We've seen an awful lot of that so far. We've played about 10 minutes in the first half of this championship game. Taking the kick for Barrington is Jared Hall. He gets it down deep, but cleared out again by the Hawks, who have yet to really get organized. But as Cliff said, you know that they're going to as soon as the nerves, the jitters settle down. Number 11 is Matt Masur just into the game, as Hendricken still can't get the passes to click at midfield to set up an offensive attack. And once again, a whistle, little push, and the official indicates we're going to go back down the other end of the field.
Interesting part of this game is number 10, Steve Russell from Hendricken. I found out he's the sweeper back. He's the all-state back. He's got a high temperature and hasn't been feeling well for the last 24 to 48 hours. So it was questionable whether he was even going to play today. So hopefully he'll be able to hold up and go all the way, because without him, they'll be hurting.
All right, Hendricken's got an opportunity to get across here on the attack in the middle, but taken over by Barrington once again. As Scott Peterson comes back and checks his man nicely, however, he pushed him apparently, Cliff. I didn't see that, but that was a trip. That was a trip, so.
That was Bobby Warwick that got tripped. He's probably the better forward on the Hendricken team.
Ball goes down toward the Barrington end. Once again, the shot was not directly on. Barrington has apparently touched it. It went over the end line, so it's going to be a corner kick.
Now, here there are a lot of different things you can do. You try to mash your players in front and have them moving around so they can't be marked man for man very easily. And then you just hope the ball's got to come in about 6 foot high, though.
All right. The kick out in front. We had a whistle before the ball even arrived.
With somebody shoved. There's a tendency on the offense when somebody's on you, and they'll always call it against the offense usually, very seldom, because, see, that would be an indirect kick right there. They don't call it against the defense unless it's flagrant.
Now, Bill Rattel, number 14, was taking the corner kick. That's time for a very delicate drop shot in front. You try and get your good goal scorers and you guys that are clever to be out there to meet the ball and get it past the goalkeeper. Barrington once again on the attack. Douglas has got it up on the left side.
Now, that was a handball. Handball has to be intentional. I don't think that was intentional, but the fact that he's swinging his arm, referee Marshall decided he better call it, and he did.
Hendricken getting better organized now, fighting for the ball. Number 11, Matt Massour. Peter de Blasi is also down there, but it breaks free, and the Barrington defense is back, and Chris Darling picks it up and kicks it out of there.
Psychologically now, you've got a situation where Barrington scored relatively early. And they might sit on it a little bit, and that's bad to do that. They may sit back, play a little more defensive, and you end up playing a lot of defense.
26 minutes, 19 seconds left to go in the first half. 1-0. The Barrington Eagles scoring is just in front of the 5-minute mark. Nicholas Formazano hitting the ball past Vince Mercurio in the Hendricken goal, and the Eagles enjoy that lead. Trying to get something going at midfield is Matt Douglas. Takes over on the right-hand side. Gets it back to center position, but it's a little bit too long as both teams are vying for control. Coming out of the pack with it, David Crouch now. Up to Peter de Blasi. Peter goes down, so does Tom Simon, but taking control is Crouch. He's coming in on the right side. A tackle, the ball is loose. And a little dispute down there as Tempe's... Kids are running on a high
See, Barrington's not going to sit back and get bumped around, so they're bumping back, and it's a fairly aggressive game right now.
Well, Barrington gets the better of that one as they take over possession. It's kicked back to Chris Darling.
As I told you, Hendricken's a very strong team. They've got some players in there that can really go up for the ball, and they're in excellent condition, so they'll go 90 minutes right up till the end.
Now, once again, there's a little pushing and shoving going on there as they're bumping, but it's just a territorial fight, apparently.
Yes. And they're up, they're keyed up, the adrenaline's running, and they've just kind of settled down a little bit. They're not, neither team is passing the way they're going to pass probably in the second half when they run the jitters out of them and get a little bit more tired.
Well, the officials step right in now. The whistle's been blowing frequently, Cliff.
Yeah.
This is important. The officials have to take control of this thing early.
And they have to talk to the players and be careful not to give out yellow cards all over the place, because then it doesn't mean anything. But there have been a couple of fouls that could have called for a yellow card, but the referees don't want to do that.
All right, Hendricken, Steve Russell gets it downfield as it's a chance for the Hawks to get something organized. They really haven't been on the attack very much so far, but they've had a little bit better pressure in the last 10 minutes or so than they did.
Well, since that goal was scored, see, and Barrington's sitting back just a little bit.
Throw in for Hendricken. But Barrington is right there, seemingly to take control, and it's kicked out of there back to midfield, and we'll try and set it up again.
That was just a case of getting a leg in there a little bit too soon. He called it an illegal tackle.
That's David Crouch about to approach the ball here on the kick, I believe an indirect kick. And instead of going for the goal from that distance, he's trying to set something up. Handling the ball on the far side. Hendricken tries to get something going. Bill O'Rourke can't do it, though. He is called for the infraction, and it's going to go back to Barrington.
On a foul like that, the referee has to make a decision on whether the defensive player plays the ball and how badly he attacks the player. Like, you can play the ball, and there's such a thing as a shoulder charge.
Referees have a lot of latitude in this one.
Yes, they do.
All right, Hendricken trying to get it back out. And they do so. Controlling the ball is Matt Massour. Matt's trying to go up the left side, but a nice little tackle along the sideline. And it'll be a toss-in for Hendricken. They're going to have to set this one up again.
One thing you see that you didn't see 10 or 15 years ago, players move around the field a lot. You'll have somebody listed as a left midfielder. They may be playing on the right side half the time. They're moving around a lot because players are more skilled. And the game is becoming more like basketball and other sports as the coaches become more knowledgeable and try new things. They don't play in a standard formation like they used to years ago.
Now, Barrington did have the toss in, but another whistle, and it's going to go back to Hendricken's goalkeeper, Vic Mercurio, who I believe, Cliff, in, let's see, in 19 games this year has allowed only 12 goals.
Well, the other night against South Kingston, he made a couple of tremendous saves. Saved the game for them in 2 occasions.
It'll be Hendricken on the attack. Still trying to get a real good chance. They haven't had a good clean shot at Chris Darling in the Barrington goal.
Well, neither team has attacked down the wings as such. They seem to be banging the ball up the middle. And that's the player they've got to watch, number 18, Bobby Walworth.
He's down Bryant with the throw. Number 6 down there is Peter de Blasi. There's a collision. Play does not stop. There's no whistle, and Barrington takes
I
over
think
the
it
ball.
was just a good tackle. So he got the ball, and de Blasi went over the ball and fell down, looked for the foul, but there was no foul.
All right. The officials rule it's over the sideline. Off of Hendricken. It's a toss in for Barrington High School. As Hendricken's got to be getting a little frustrated now. Bill Rattel didn't think he was at fault. But Barrington brings it back the other way. Long kick goes over midfield, headed back into the Hendricken zone, the attack zone.
That punt was close to 55 to 60 yards.
And no wind to cheat. No wind to help you. Slight breeze, but
You can easily see why some of those field goal kickers in the NFL have the power they do, because most of them have taken soccer style.
David Crouch tries to set something up in front. Once again, Walworth is there, but he's got 2 guys on him. Can't get anything going. De Blasi takes a shot. It breaks off a Barrington defender. Number 12 was Jared Hall out there, but an easy save for Chris Darling.
Now, in a case like that, Jared, the sweeper back, probably shouldn't have gone for that ball. He might have deflected that, and the goalie should have yelled and called it, but as it turned out, he missed it. You go for a ball like that, you could deflect it right into your own goal. So you have to be careful on plays like that.
Hendricken goalkeeper Vic Mercurio kicks it out. We're going to have another start, though. Barrington will be on the attack just inside of the midfield line. And it's been fairly even for the past 5 minutes here. We have 20 minutes, 46 seconds to go. Barrington leads it 1-0. Hendricken with a dangerous shot in front, heads it out of there. As Barrington again tries to get organized to get something going. They've got a couple of attackers. Bill Douglas is out of the ball. Matt Douglas takes the shot. Scott Douglas, his brother Matt right next to him. Scott gets the shot off, but it is wide to the right side. And when you see those 2 guys and 1 defender, you got to worry a little bit.
Well, and see how explosive he is, and he put a nice shot. He would put it low to the far corner, but he missed by about 1.5 yards.
So Hendricken's Steve Russell will kick it out of the zone. Just about 20 minutes straight up left to go in the first half.
Ryan Boone has come into the game for Barrington, number 28.
Substitutions are made freely. They can be made at any time, I believe.
Now you'll notice again, once the camera swings over there, number 4, Douglas, is being covered by number 12, Kevin Colbert. Mickey Rooney probably told Colbert at the beginning of the game, I don't care if you do anything else, just cover him wherever he goes. Don't let him get any shots off, and if he does get a foot in there, to deflect it.
All right, Hendricken could not control the ball. It's over the end line. It'll be a corner kick for Barrington. That is Scott Douglas who's going to put it out in front now. You see the strategy as the Barrington players head towards the net. It's up for grabs. Punched out by Mercurio, and finally cleared by the Hendricken defense. Nice job.
Now, in a play like that, Barrington brings in their 2 fullbacks. Jared Hall, their sweeper, goes up on the head ball.
Mercer comes up on the right sideline, trying to get something going, but he's tackled. It's knocked away by Tom Healy of Barrington. It'll be a toss-in for Hendricken. Bill Rattel throws it in. Trying to get it down to David Crouch and his teammates in front, get something going, but the whistle and the official says it's going to go back the other way.
Rick, an interesting sidelight in the semifinal against Center Falls. Barrington's Tom Simon, number 17, did an amazing job on the best player in the state in Louis Espinal.
Long kick down toward the Barrington goal, but Chris Darling is there to control things and get it right back out. As they'll fight for possession now and control. Douglas on the right side for Barrington, a very tricky, clever player. Tries to get it in front. He's got a man open. A shot and score!
Now, see, Douglas's speed made that possible.
Number 28, Brian Boone, coming across the middle. A perfect lead pass from Scott Douglas. And once again, Hendricken goalkeeper Vic Mercurio just had no chance.
Yeah, a really good head ball on that. And the key was Douglas getting it before it went over the end line. You'll notice he just reaches it. I didn't show it, but it shows the head ball. And a strong head. That's the second time with a strong head right by the goalie and not over, but right in.
Well, credit has to go to two guys on that one. Scott Douglas with a beautiful pass from the baseline, and Brian Boone, who hustled all the way, beat his defender just to the ball, and goalkeeper Vic Mercurio had no prayer. So,
who just came into the game, Rick? He just came in just a few minutes ago.
Good substitution. 18 minutes or so. 18 minutes, 15 seconds to go in the first half. And Barrington now with a 2-0 lead. This is definitely going to put a little pressure and maybe take Hendricken out of their pregame strategy. One of defensive play and waiting for the good moments. They're going to have to attack, as David Crouch does. He gets up, puts a shot on, but it's knocked away by a defender. And now there'll be a little contest to see who's going to retain possession. Tricky in the corners. It goes over the baseline, and the official is pointing back down the other way. So Barrington gets the better goal kick. Just out by Hendricken.
Now, that's very unusual for Barrington to come out and get the new team in the tournament, the new guy on the block, come in and against a fairly veteran, experienced team and get 2 goals like that. But they both were very straight, honest goals.
Tom Simon with the ball now. Brian Boone, who scored the last goal, is a senior, as now David Crouch kicks it out and tries to get something going for Hendricken. But Barrington is there to once again get it away. Brian Boone, a senior forward, who obviously was put in at the right moment and put in for his experience. With Douglas setting that up nicely. Now Scott Douglas gets it down on the right side as Barrington once again tries to control. There's Matt Douglas with the ball. Scott Douglas, excuse me. And again they're trying to get something going. On the near side it goes to Curtis Stevens, but he can't control, and Hendricken gets it back out to midfield. But I noticed that Barrington has 4 defenders hanging back, only 2 offensive players now.
Right, there's now 3, but see, Hendricken's had a little trouble getting the ball upfield, so they drop back one of their forwards to help in the midfield. And sometimes it looks like they have 4 midfielders, but they're really attacking with 3 forwards.
An overly exuberant tackle there made by Barrington, so it'll be a free kick for Hendricken. Running over to take it is Steve Russell.
And the Hendricken forwards are floating all over. They're not staying in any one place. And when you do that, you've got to have your head up and watch what's going on, because otherwise you're going to miss the people to pass to.
Well, the last infraction was against Hendricken, rather. It'll be a Barrington ball.
So far, we've had 1 corner kick for Hendricken, and the shots are even at 2 apiece, but probably 3 now. I got these statistics just before that last goal, so it'll be 3 shots and 2 goals. That's pretty good.
Okay, now continued activity between a couple of players here. Scott Peterson vying with Bobby Walworth, the Hendricken ace, and Hendricken's going to get this call and get another kick. David Crouch is setting it up here. We don't know if he'll take it. Yes, he will. Because you're going to have to watch number 18 down in front. They're going to try and get it to Walworth. He's very clever in tight with the ball and was their leading scorer this year. Kick a little bit too long. Chris Darling is there in position for Barrington, and he gets it out. And once again, one of the Douglases, both clever ball handlers, but Scotty, the younger, the junior, and Matthew is the sophomore.
With a 2-0 lead, I think Barrington will gain a lot of confidence from that, and they will become less panicky and will keep the ball down on the ground and move it around more, whereas Hendricken wants to get back in the game, and sometimes you try to go a little too fast when you're in a situation like that.
That's Matt Douglas with the ball. He's got it in front again, trying to get over to Brother Scott. It's free in front. The ball was loose. Mercurio tried to make the save. It got away from him. And
in that situation, Mercurio made a nice save, but he hit the ground so hard the ball popped loose. You know, like I see some of those NFL runners have that happen to them, so it's something that could happen to everyone.
You can see Scott Douglas just trying to get to the ball quick and get the kick off, but he couldn't do it. So it's safely out of there now as Hendricken is going to try and take over. Whistles going back down the other way as Hendricken brings the man off a little bit too hard. Barrington's going to get another chance to get on the attack here. The whistle is going to be explained to Barrington head coach Ed Bradley on the sideline. Tom Simon's the guy with the ball for Barrington. Standing next to him is Tom Healy. We've had 2 goals scored here in the first half. Nick Formazano early on for the Eagles on a beautiful header, and another good header by a guy who just came into the ball game moments before the goal was scored, Brian Boone, and that's the way it stands. 2-0 in favor of Barrington. A little bit of a surprise in that Hendricken is a very good defensive team, but they have been burned quickly early. We will be right back with the rest of the first half. The score is Barrington 2, Hendricken nothing. Let's pause for this message.
A 500,000 Americans are imprisoned in wheelchairs. Other millions suffer related paralysis. But successful experiments backed by the Spinal Cord Society enable people to pedal, stand, and walk by computer control. For information and a free copy of the Spinal Cord newsletter, just write Box 69, Minneapolis, Minnesota 55445, or call toll-free 800-328-8253. You can help the drive toward cure, not just care, come true.
Back at Stevenson Field on the campus of Brown University, I'm Rick O'Brien, and alongside with the color commentary, Brown University head soccer coach Cliff Stevenson. Surprised at anything so far, Cliff?
Well, I'm surprised that those goals were scored as quickly as they were, but they were really fine goals, and Hendricken's got themselves in a hole now, down 2-0. Barrington will start settling it down and move the ball in a more calm fashion.
Those are the Douglas brothers on the far side, getting the ball into the middle, but it cannot be controlled by Barrington as Hendricken's going to run it out of there. We had a whistle and play is stopping. I thought, Cliff, I saw the official kind of indicate that play could have gone on there because Hendricken retained possession.
Yeah, but that's tough for the referee to make that judgment. If it's do if you don't, and if, you know.
Steve Russell does get it out of there for Hendricken. The Hawks yet to really mount a strong attack. They've had a couple of weak shots, but they've been basically wide. And Barrington very, very strong defensively, not allowing any of the Hendricken players to get free down there. It is over the sideline. And a little mistake by Hendricken, and that gives Barrington a free toss in.
I think our viewers have probably noticed that Barrington's very good with their heads. They get up off the ground, they head the ball very well, and it shows they've had a lot of practice at it.
Possession maintained at midfield by Hendricken. Maybe a chance here as they've got a couple of Barrington high players trapped backfield. There's a nice long kick and a score!
Beautiful shot.
My goodness. Didn't expect that from way out there. He had nobody to help him out. He just banged it home there.
That's Scott Diorti, I think, number 19, a substitute. Just got a hold of the ball out there at about the 23-yard line.
All right, and he banged it into the...
And up into the right-hand corner. Now, that's going to do a lot for the confidence of Hendricken to get back in the game. Now, they're within 1 goal away, and it makes a big difference.
All of a sudden, Diorti out of nowhere, senior forward, showed some very deft ability from that far out. But I was surprised. He kicked that corner very nicely, and really, Chris Darling couldn't get to it. He could see the whole thing unfolding, but the shot was strong from a great distance. And Darling couldn't get to it quick enough, so here we go.
Goalie had no chance on that, Rick, whatsoever. That was a dynamite shot.
I'm sure it was slow motion for him. You could see everything unfolding and just could not get there. So, different complexion now, as Barrington did enjoy the better of things for most of this first half, and we've still got 13 minutes straight up to go here. But now Hendricken's getting on the board, and as Cliff mentioned, that's going to loosen the Hawks up a little bit.
Well, that's kind of a nice goal for somebody that didn't start the game, came in as a sub. So we've had 2 people coming off the bench and scoring goals, Rick.
2-1 Barrington as the fight goes on to control the ball near side. It is off of the Barrington player. We're going to have a throw-in for Hendricken. Both these schools are very well represented here in the stands. They're both the crowd.
Yes. Good crowd, Rick.
Now the official says that was a clean play. The ball off a Hendricken player. Now they're trying to cover it with Peter Ladgeson, but off of him, so Barrington again will toss it in. Taking the toss, Curtis Stevens. He's being hounded there by Bill Rittel, but Stevens controls. Douglas now gets it across midfield. He's being marked strongly.
17's going to stay right with him.
17 for Hendricken is Dan Ford.
idea of Douglas's talent. He's quick, and he can move the ball with his feet very quickly, and so Ford's got all he can handle to stay with him and cover him. So far, he's done a very good job on him, except when he got loose down on that base landing for that second goal.
Go in by Bill O'Rourke. If Hendricken can't get it to his man in the middle, hit it out of there by Barrington. But the Hawks have a lot of attackers down there. David Trout trying to get something going. Shot is blocked. And again, Barrington's trying to get control, but nobody can.
Hendricken's going to have to try to spread it out. If you'll notice, we've got at least 14 players all within a 10-yard radius right at the half moon, what I call that area just off the penalty area, the half moon.
O'Rourke is bumped heavily off the ball. Hendricken's going to get a free attempt here, and that is David Crouch lining up to take the shot. We'll have to watch who's down in front, see what strategy they've got going. Tries to get it over the end. Oh, a nice little bit of strategy is breaking free into there with Peter Ladgerson, but his heading attempt just went wide to the left. That was a very nice play. How did he get free like that?
Well, he just made a jig like in basketball and came back the other way towards the ball, and he got his head on it.
Nobody stayed with him. Chris Darling kicks it out of there. It cannot be controlled on the far side by Douglas.
Both teams are very good with their head up front, so any long balls coming in are dangerous. But one of the finest plays is when you go to the baseline like Douglas did and then put it back. That was a beautiful play.
All right, Hendricken now on the attack. The shot drifts in there. Darling's got it controlled. But that was Diorsi again, who's got the goal, and since coming in the game, a couple of good chances.
There goes Douglas with the ball.
Rolling all alone there. He's got 5 guys to beat as he tries to get it up to another attacker. Mercurio covers up. Dangerous play right there as a couple of defenders gave up on it, and Curtis Stevens was cruising in. But Mercurio gets it out of there.
Well, you'll find over the last maybe 10 years, there's more passing back to the goaltender now. The goaltenders are going to become more and more a part of the game on the field. Over in England and in Europe now, they're training goaltenders with their feet to come out and play as another defender.
Barrington tries to get it out of there, but Hendricken takes control and sets things up again at the midfield stripe. Over to the right side, Scott Douglas controls for Barrington. Collision, dangerous play, but nothing whistled as Hendricken takes over. And the ball is kicked back. Good opportunity here as Diorsi once again is in, but it's kicked out of there by Barrington. Here's a long shot taken quickly by Peter Ladgerson, but he didn't get his foot on it quite properly.
Well, it was a nice play by Jared Hall, the sophomore sweeper for Barrington. That's the second time he has handled that ball in a tight situation and cleared it out.
Diorsi proving himself to be dangerous coming off the bench here, and we also have a nice attack for Bobby Walworth. Bobby is one of the better players, and he's being hounded by Barrington defensively. Haven't seen very much out of him so far, but they're trying to get him the ball. Simon tries to get it across, and it's going to be controlled and kicked out of there smartly by Barrington.
You'll notice that the green now are really starting to dominate because that gave them life getting that goal back, and it kind of knocked a little bit out of Barrington with a nice 2-goal lead, and then have a stunning shot like that go in.
On the far side, Diorsi loses the ball, and it's going to go back to Barrington, comes across the midfield stripe as Barrington controls. Brad Anger now to the ball game, controls on the right side. He's trying to get it down to Douglas as he goes down and is kicked out by Hendricken, and it's going to be a toss-in for the Barrington Eagles. We're looking at Scott Douglas, who's down hanging around in front of that goal mouth. A defender at all times between me and the goal. A nice try to get it to Douglas in front. It's headed away. Whistle. The ball goes in the net, but it's going to be waved off by the official. Contact made before the shot was taken. And a close call for Hendricken as Barrington had another one by there, but clip on the replay.
That was number 28 again for Barrington, but on the replay that he charged.
Was that what the call was? There we go. You'll see it. You'll see contact made.
Yeah, see the green defender got knocked down from the rear, just a little too aggressive on the ball.
Very close.
It was a good call by the referee. You can't give the offense that much of an advantage. He played the ball, but he came on the man too hard.
Well, another infraction. Barrington will be going back on the attack. We've got 7 minutes, 30 seconds to go in the first half. It stands 2-1 in favor of the Barrington Eagles. But the complexion of this thing seems to be changing a little bit as Hendricken is getting more forceful on the offensive. Controlling the ball on the far side, Peter Ladgerson trying to get a play going. Kicks it a little bit too far ahead to be taken over by Barrington.
Hendricken has strong runners, and those front forwards are strong, so they come right down the middle and come right at you.
Ladgerson with an opportunity, kicks it too high and too long. And the ball is over the end line. Barrington's going to get to kick it out of here.
I'd like to see both teams work the wings a little bit more and spread it out. They're both really pouring down the middle.
Chris Darling knocks it up. Hendricken there to take control as the fight goes on.
Rob Blakely.
In the near side.
Number 1.
Another whistle clip.
Another free kick, another shove. They call it a shoving foul. Pushing.
So again, David Crouch is going to be the guy to try and set up the play.
Now here they're going to try to drop it in, and there are 5 green shirts over on the other side. They're going to drive in there to try to head it in. Here we go.
There's the drop. Headed away by Barrington. A collision. Someone's down there. Is that Jared Hall?
That was Jared Hall that got the head ball. For a sophomore, he's very skilled back there. He does a nice job at sweeper. That's what we call a sweeper.
The ball doesn't play. Hendricken has maintained control. As they try and get it into the middle, there's a quick turnaround kick. I believe that was Dan Ford that took it to the defender.
Another interesting thing, Rick, is that Hendricken doesn't wait to shoot. You'll notice they fired like 10 shots in the last 10 minutes. Well, they don't fiddle around with the ball out there. That was one thing that Central Falls, they tried to move the ball into the box with skill and precision passing, and they didn't get it in.
Okay, Cliff, we've got just under 6 minutes to go in the first half. The score is Barrington 2, Hendricken 1. We'll be right back.
I'm Ricky Davis of the Cosmos, proud to be a member of the championship soccer team. Pride is important to these athletes, too. They're part of Special Olympics, the national sports program for the mentally retarded. Their skill is their source of pride, their chance to compete with the talents they do have. Do your part to make their lives better. Support Special Olympics in your community. Get civic groups to provide volunteers. Encourage your employer to sponsor a team. Everyone deserves a chance to take a bow. Help them take theirs. All it takes is understanding, skills they can learn, and praise for a job well done. To find out how Special Olympics can work in your community, write Special Olympics, Box 19106, Washington, D.C. 20006. Do it now. You can help.
Only 5 minutes, 57 seconds left to go in the first half as both teams, Cliff, are probably going to use the halftime to change strategies a little bit. I know Hendricken's got to feel better about coming back after being down 2-0 and finally getting a goal.
Yes, very definitely. That's going to make a difference. And Hendricken, as I said, is strong. And as you can see, even with a 2-goal lead, they came firing back. They didn't sit back and just say, well, there it goes.
Controlled nicely on the far sideline, kept in play by both Barrington and Hendricken. That time it goes over the sideline, and I think it's going to be a toss in by the Hendricken Hawks.
There's one that you can't score unless you shoot. And Hendricken certainly not afraid to shoot. They get anywhere within range and they fire.
They didn't have an opportunity, but that last foray down the field, the defender, Dan Ford, was way up and took that shot on goal. As Hendricken controls now on the near side. Falling down as Bobby Walworth couldn't get an opportunity to get to the ball. He might have got something cooking on that one.
An interesting thing is to watch number 17, number 12, Kevin Colbert, following Douglas around. He's like married to him.
Me and my shadow. Hendricken wisely gets organized, knocks it over the sideline, and throwing it in for the Barrington Eagles is Douglas. But Hendricken's going to kick it out of there again. I thought they might try and get something going, but content to set up the defense as Scott Douglas is still on the far sideline. Tossing as he tries to get it to teammate, who is that on the far side? I believe that's Brad Anger. And Barrington still controlling the ball very nicely. There's Anger on the near side. Nifty little move to elude the defender. Gets it up to the center, but the attack is not completed as the Hendricken defenders come up and held him at that line, Cliff. They're coming out a little bit farther. Is Hendricken pushing
yes,
defense
they're
out?
going to try to keep them in an onside position or catch them offside if they go behind. And you'll notice soccer's changing because, like Douglas was over on the right, he was on the move into the middle when that midfielder had the ball. And by the way, Anger's a very skilled player. He moves that ball well.
Well, Barrington maintains control. It's kicked out of there now by Hendricken. And racing for the ball on the far side is Matt Masur. He cannot control it. It's kicked back by Barrington. And Hendricken, well, they keep it in play. Tom Simon on the far side is trying to control things for Barrington to get something going, but now we got play at midfield, and they'll set it all up again. Barrington controlling. Nick Formazano has already got a goal today, bringing the ball on the right side, still trying to keep control of it. He's down, he's up, he's down, and Hendricken takes over.
Nice play by Danny Ford then, and taking that ball away from the Barrington forward.
Not quite saved on the far sideline. It is off a Hendricken player. Going to be a toss in for Barrington.
Formazano's doing a very nice ball. That's who has the ball now. Had it knocked out of bounds, but he's doing a nice job for Barrington on that side. He's playing that right midfield position.
Well, Nick Formazano, and Brian Boone have the goals for Barrington. On the other side, Scott Diorsi into the ball game and got a goal for Hendricken as Vic Mercurio saves that one for Hendricken. Not really a strong shot. We're down under 3 minutes to go in the first half as play continues here at Stevenson Field.
See, both goalies hit that ball 65 yards in the air. They both have very strong legs.
Fight for control in midfield. Hendricken's going to take over and try and get the offense going again. It comes up, but cannot be controlled by Scott Diorsi. And Barrington will try and get it going back the other way. Formazano's kicked long, but controlled on the far side by Barrington. Now it's loose in the middle.
See, that time
by Bill Rattel.
That time you found Anger over on the other side of the field. So they're roaming. He's a forward. They're roaming from one side to the other.
Good opportunity here on the near side. It just miskicked here by Bill Rattel. He had a chance to lay it across in front from the right side. But despite the miss, he gets the throw in as it's off the Barrington player. Rattel tries to control. Kicked out of there by Barrington. It's back in there. David Crouch keeping the pressure on. Bobby Walworth now controls it, puts it in the middle. We got a shot here. Yes, we do, but it's wide to the left. A very nice little play that time.
Very nice play. They stayed calm. They moved the ball in and almost got the goal.
Walworth and Diorsi combining nicely on that one. The kick a little bit wide to the left. First Darling, the Barrington goalkeeper seemed to be in position, but that play unfolded rather rapidly, and from Hendricken's side of things, with a little promise of maybe of what they can do in the second half.
Brian Boone's back into the game again for Anger, and they go back and forth. Those two players are shuttling back and forth for Barrington.
1 minute left to go in the first half.
Barrington probably should try to get that ball to Douglas and let him work on Colbert a little bit, but they haven't been able to do that.
Hendricken here with an opportunity as they're trying to get organized on the throw, and the long kick going down is Chris Darling to cut off the angle. The guy headed in there was Scott Diorsi trying to get something on the ball, but Darling beat him to it and kicks it rapidly out of there. Just about 35 seconds to go now. And once again, Crouch tries to get things going for Hendricken. Ball comes back to midfield, headed in there by Crouch again as he's keeping the pressure on. He's everywhere, but he can't control it. Coming back, here we go with it. One of the Douglases again. But Scott can't control it. It's off of Barrington, a Hendricken defender, and they've got about 20 seconds here to try and get something going. Hendricken, of course, is just trying to control things. A whistle, a push, and it's going to go back the other way. The foul against Barrington. With 8 seconds left in the first half, I'd say, Cliff, that's just...
Yeah, that's it. Just get rid of the ball and...
No mistakes, be careful. And you can hear the crowd counting it down. So the first half here of the championship game at Stevenson Field between Barrington and Hendricken is history. We have Barrington with a 2-1 lead over the Hendricken Hawks. And Cliff Stevenson and I will be right back to discuss what happened in the first half, right after this break.